Hello, Patrick McKeown here. Thanks so much for supporting our Buteyko Clinic channel. Can I ask you a big favour? Would you mind subscribing? And with this, we can support the channel more, we can put out more videos, and it would really mean a lot. Buteyko, for me, has been life-changing and life-changing for the people that we're working with, and we would love to see it getting out there. So please subscribe. Thanks very much. Patrick McKeown here, and what an opportune time to talk about managing stress, especially given what's happening in the world around us. And it really gives the external events that are going on is a reflection of the internal madness of the human mind. And the human mind is pretty mad, but some human minds are madder than others. And that's a testimony to that. We only look after one person and look after yourself. And it's not being selfish. If you look after yourself, that then gives you the energy, the wherewithal, the capability then to look after other people. So start off with yourself. And I know there can be a feeling of guilt if you're giving yourself attention because you feel that you have to be giving your attention everywhere else. For me, the breath has been an amazing place over the last 25 years. I know you've heard me talk about it before. I will genuinely say it didn't just change my life. It made an enormous difference to my life. And it's not any old breathing exercise. It was breathing in and out through the nose during rest, during exercise, light, moderate exercise, and during sleep. Great place to start. With nose breathing, you breathe slower and you breathe with a better recruitment of the diaphragm. And already that's signaling calm to the brain. Very, very important. You know how you breathe when you get stressed. Your breathing gets faster, it gets harder. You're breathing in the upper chest. You have irregular breathing, you're stopping breathing, you're sighing. And it's not just that the difficult situation is putting us into a stress response. Our breathing pattern is going to feed into that stress response as well. Life is just a bit softer when our nervous system is in balance, when we're not in that stress response. The other breathing exercise that really made an enormous difference to me was breathe light. And it's actually breathing less air. It's the total opposite to what often you hear. It's the total opposite to taking the full deep breath. How do you know that you're not breathing light? Well, say, for example, you're doing a yoga practice. If you can hear your breathing, you're not doing breathe light. If you're breathing in through the nose and fast breaths out through the mouth, that's a stressor. So you could say, well, I'm breathing in through the nose and I've got pursed lip breathing. But that doesn't even indicate that you are breathing light. Breathing light is when you feel air hunger. Breathing light is when the volume of air that you breathe per minute is less than what you normally breathe. And breathing isn't just about the number of breaths that you have per minute, but it's the respiratory rate by the tidal volume. In other words, by the volume of air that you draw into your lungs. That gives you minute volume. That's what we are taking into consideration. So when you breathe a little bit less air and carbon dioxide accumulates in your lungs and blood, that's going to increase blood flow to the brain. And with increased blood flow to the brain, that can have a calming effect. The other aspect of it is as well that when you increase carbon dioxide, it lowers blood pH, and this reduces brain cell excitability. So the brain itself whitens with the drop to blood pH. And it's only a slight drop to blood pH. We're not talking about acidosis here. All we're talking about is a slight drop to blood pH from the accumulation of carbon dioxide. Another aspect, of course, is bringing our attention from our mind into the body, onto the breath and present moment awareness. We have been trained to think. We have been trained to analyze and to break information into tiny pieces. We have been trained, and so much credit has been given to the great thinkers, the best thinkers of our times, almost to the point that we feel that we need to be living in our head all the time. And I would genuinely say living in our head is the worst place to be. The minimum time that human beings spend living in their head is 50% of their time. Now, you can be in a beautiful place like this, and nature is absolutely beautiful. Nature is in stillness. But are we really appreciating it? I remember 25, it was probably about 30 years ago. I was in my early 20s, and I was in a stressful job at the time that I didn't like. And somebody told me, go down to the beach, go down to the seaside. And they said, sit down and just look out onto the sea. And I looked out onto the sea for about 10, 15 minutes. And I came away from it and I said, there's nothing, that was total useless. I got nothing out of it. Why?
because I sat at the sea and I looked out to the sea, but my attention was stuck in my head. Now, there's the sea now. I know it's in the distance, but to truly appreciate the sea, we need to drop the analytical mind and to look at the sea without analyzing, without interpreting, without the mental commentary, to listen to the waves without the internal commentary, to smell the air, to taste, to feel, to bring attention into the body. And you might think that's woo-woo, but I will genuinely say there's nothing woo-woo about that, because what's the alternative? Stuck in your head. That is not a good place to be. It's okay to think. It's okay to analyze. There is a time to think. There is a time to plan. There is a time to make decisions. But there's also a time to immerse yourself in what's going on around you, in the absence of thinking, that you are fully connected with everything that's going on around you. And that makes life just that little bit softer. Because show me the person with dysfunctional breathing who is stuck in their head and overthinking, and show me how they react to a difficult situation. Their reaction is going to be amplified, more dramatic. It'll take them a lot more to recover. It will have a greater toll on that person. I was like that person. And all I did was learn breathing in and out through the nose and practicing the Buteyko method, and also the oxygen advantage. Two breathing techniques that have parallels and tremendous in terms of bringing a quietness to the mind. And of course, the benefit of that is that if you have control and capacity to bring a quietness to the mind, you can then direct your attention to where you want to direct it upon. And that gives you an ability to concentrate and to access flow states. And flow state is a state of peak performance when your attention is moving simultaneously with time, when the eye has got out of the way, when you have got out of your own way, when you are no longer sabotaging your performance. This is something that we should have learned as children, to have it for the rest of our lives. And I, as a 52-year-old, I am so grateful. I've spent 26 years personally practicing this stuff, not doing it formally. There's nothing for anybody to see. I'm not sitting on a mountain in the lotus position with my hands in the prayer position or anything like that. I just go about my normal day-to-day business. I have my attention either stuck in my head or not. I want, at various opportunities throughout the day, is get out of my head. And that's what I do. I check in on what am I thinking about. I pay attention to that. I bring my attention onto my breath. If my head feels a bit heavy, I soften down the speed of the exhale. Life throws curveballs. Doesn't always go well, but life has been so much softer. And if you want a tool to better navigate life, and also to be happier, of course, and to attain your full potential, look at the Buteyko method. Look at the oxygen advantage. Put it into practice. My personal experience goes right through it. And these are practical tools that you will be able to apply for the rest of your life. So I leave it at that. But in any event, let's even start off with what we've talked about in this video. Start breathing in and out through the nose. Start paying attention to your breath. Start bringing attention into your body, and start taking soft and gentle light breathing. You can do some breath holds. So there's various things that you can be practicing. And look at our websites. I have 11 books. The information is all out there. We have various trainings, and you'll get a lot out of it. So it's not going to waste your time. I can absolutely assure you that.